Rock and roll. It's Mastermind with Neil Schwartz, and our special guest today is Justin Torres. Justin, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Happy Thursday to you.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Justin and I met, I guess it's been 3 years now, at a Mike Ferry event where you were pretty much brand new and had already done in your first full year in business something around 300 or so. Was that sound right?
Yeah, about
How many
300,000.
transactions did you do that first year?
So first 7 months did nothing. Immediately, latter half of the year, I did 21 deals, which pushed me right into that 300.
Right. Okay, good. And then the second, and then Mike, did he interview you that year or the year after?
The year after.
The year after. So he had a conversation with you and said, how did you do this? How did you get to that? And did you do it with that beautiful smiling face?
That's exactly what he said. And then he accepted, or he gave me the opportunity to write him a big check.
Yes, he's that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. So, do a little Reader's Digest version of your life up to that point. You were born as a great salesman, right? You came with millions of dollars in your pocket. That's the story, right?
That's exactly what it is. So basically, I had a couple $1 million, trust fund baby. No, this is all fictitious, guys. I did have a great family, an amazing support system that from very young age encouraged work ethic through action as opposed to just verbal nonsense. I saw people leaving the house at 5 a.m. They wouldn't get back till 7 p.m. And just to give you a little more about me, I fell in love from a young age with baseball. My dream was going to make it to the MLB like every other young kid. And I achieved that dream partially because I got a scholarship to play baseball. And literally less than 1 year in, I gave it up. And I gave it up because I thought it was a business. So I said, if I'm going to be in this business, I have a 1% chance of winning. I'd rather get into regular business. And with that being said, I left baseball, left college, started working a ton, found myself in the fine dining industry. That's when I fell in love with service. Because hand in hand, I genuinely were looking at professional servers. And it wasn't that they fell in love with the meal, but they fell in love with everything else around it, making someone feel or giving unreasonable hospitality to a different degree. And when I saw that, I built a connection with some of these clients. One of those clients told me, Justin, do you know who Luis Ortiz is? And I said, Ortiz and Torres, just because we have two Spanish last names doesn't mean we know each other. And she responded, she said, Justin, listen to me. I'm smart. I know what I'm doing. You need to get your real estate license. He just sold my property. Now, Luis Ortiz, I didn't know at the time. I was 17. He sold $90 million in real estate that year, and he was doing a whole lot. So I got my license, and I haven't sold $90 million yet. My last name is not Ortiz, so I'm here now.
So what's the story there? I mean, yeah, you got your real estate license, but hundreds, thousands of real estate agents get their real estate license. And I would even venture to guess that a few hundred came from the fine dining side of the world, right?
Yeah.
Maybe more. What's the difference with Justin? Why does Justin sell lots of properties his first year, closes a bunch more the second year, writes Mike Ferry a check for $50,000 so that he can bump it up, gets abused by Mike Ferry because Justin didn't do a lot more real estate. He only sold maybe $50,000 more, almost enough to cover the check to Mike. And Mike just brutally beat you up and said, don't come back here if you don't do at least another $250,000. And am I saying the right thing?
You're right. In 12 months, I made an extra $250,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So last year you earned uh it was 650. Is that what it
Yes.
was? Something
630.
like that. Got it.
Hmm.
Okay, so now you're 27 years old.
Hmm.
You went
20.
through the fine dining business, but what makes you special to be able to do that? Because the truth is, not a lot of people can do that or do that. Maybe they can, but they don't.
Mm. Well, so my focus, and I think it's a good question, because I always look when I'm looking at my peers, and when I say peers, it's funny because now I look in the front and I'm like, my goodness, I remember when I revered those people, and now I'm sitting next to them. But the moral of the story is, even when you speak to some of those people up front, there's nothing different. They just
You're
have,
referring to the front of a superstar retreat, the front few rows.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
got
The
it.
people that are making 1.5 million, 2.5 million, 3 million, there's really nothing different. They just built a stronger callus than everyone else. So when I say callus, it's a callus to fail. So if you take a peek at your hands, and over the years, I've worked out some, and I built callus over my hands, and it's just a protective layer of skin, and it's hardened skin. That's all it is. The difference between everybody up front and everybody in the back who's not making much money or who has not been programmed yet to understand this business or the Mike Ferry system, is the people up front do the ordinary a tad bit extra. That's what makes them extraordinary. So that if you want to be upfront, if you want to make four, five, $600,000, the only way to do that is by changing your perspective, doing the ordinary a tad bit extra. Are you going to make an hour of calls, or are you going home early? Are you going to follow up with five more leads, or are you going to go home early? Those are little things that I heard this last maybe 3 months ago, and it was a quote that said, "We don't experience life, we experience the life we choose to see it." And what's interesting about that is we lived life day to day. Um, and we never think of the importance of your attitude in living life day to day. So when I come to the office, the only thing that makes me different from everybody else is I'm saying happy Thursday every day. I'm conditioning myself. I'm starting my day off with excitement, with energy. And in the superstar retreat, well, not in the production retreat, Larry Kozak was someone that got me fired up
And he did
because
a great job.
oh my goodness, but everybody, I don't know, whoever was not there, go on Instagram, go on Mike Ferry Organization. Look, there's a gentleman that looks like he's 45 years old. He's actually like 70 something years old,
Yeah,
and
he's
he's
my
screaming at
age.
everyone in the audience. He's screaming at everyone in the audience. But the beautiful thing about that is Larry, you could know nothing about Larry and how successful he is. His energy is infectious. So whether you're here and you're 20 years old or you're here and you're 45 years old, how can we emulate that same level of affectionate energy? Because people will want to be around you, and you will take listings by accident because of that.
Justin, are you saying that energy sells?
Oh my goodness. Well, sales, I read this once. Sales is a transfer of enthusiasm. It's a transfer of energy. That's all it
Right.
is.
Okay. So if an agent's calling and he's prospecting and say, when do you plan on moving? The odds of the him or her getting a lead or an appointment is pretty low.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
Okay.
very low.
Okay. Good. All right. So let me ask you this. I don't know if you work in your office or you always worked in the office. When you make phone calls, are you working in a bullpen area? Are you working in a, uh, you know, tell me about your environment.
So I have my own office.
Mhm.
I've always worked in the office. That hasn't changed. I have my admin outside, my operations manager, my transaction coordinator. And I'm in like a little nook over here, but I'm constantly moving back and forth. I mean, because my focus is if I'm slumped down, my abdomen is crunched, my tonality is going to be a little mundane. It's going to be a little dry. If I'm alive, excited, and full of energy, again, an expired may sense that. And the amount of times that a buy owner said, I don't know why I'm listing with you. I don't even know how I'm listing this home, but I just like you. And I'm like, great, that was worth 6%.
Exactly. 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 So Can you make money in this business if you're not using a Mike Ferry system, if you're using another system? Because I know a lot of people, quit selling Mike Ferry, and that's perfectly fine. Use anybody you want. Just use something, right?
Very true. Yeah, a lot of people just use something, but stick to it because
Yeah.
there's a common theme in my age demographic. Somebody comes to me in the office and they say, Justin, I
Excuse
got
me.
into
How
coaching.
how old are you?
I am 20. I'm the ripe age of 26 with a whole lot of gray hair on this back of this head.
So you're not even 27 yet. I
No, not yet.
misspoke.
No, not yet.
Okay. When do you turn 27?
August 23rd.
Ah, we'll have a nice little birthday party. You like
Nice.
scotch?
Yeah. With you, I will drink anything because I want to learn from you.
Oh, you're very kind.
Of
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't
course.
mean to cut you off. So
No,
you're
it's fine.
26 years old. You've got
Mhm.
2.5, 3 years in this business. You've earned in excess of $1 million in that
Yeah.
3 years, right?
So this is my fifth year, but it
Okay.
has been in excess. You're right. Yeah. And think about it that way, it has probably it's been in excess
No,
of $1 million.
you've earned more than $1 million.
Yeah.
How many 26-year-olds know that aren't selling drugs that made in excess of $1 million already?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know many.
Exactly, exactly. So, how did you get started with reaching out to the system? And you were one of the lucky ones that started with Mike Ferry, but you gravitated to the system, and you're working the system as much or more than the individual coach, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so
So let's
my
talk
focus.
about a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'll dive into it a little bit. So my focus when looking for coaching at all, I mean, I didn't even know at first. I knew I needed a coach because I come from baseball. So with baseball, if you don't have a coach, I'm sorry, you're not going to play baseball. You need a coach. But I knew the importance of structure. And what was interesting about Mike, it's in looking at every coach, if you just drop write down every single coach, there's a common theme on the bottom, like if there's a common tree, I like to call it, to each one of these coaches. And at the top of that tree is Mike Ferry. So if you do want any real estate information, why not go to the source? Because every single one of those coaches that are out there have all been coached or have been associated with Mike Ferry. So for me, I said, Justin, there's no way you're going to deviate. You have people like Bernie Gallerini, you have people like Dan Mum, who are a little younger. You have people like Josh Barker. Like all of these
Yeah,
examples
all
that we
those
have,
really old guys.
but you have incredible examples. So why not just copy and paste their business and put it into yours? And the difference, Bernie said this. So when my first year in the business, I didn't make any money. But for 6 months, I didn't make any money. But what the trick was, I put within the first 6 months, I didn't have the money to pay my coach. And I called him on a Thursday. It was a 2-hour call from maybe probably till 8 p.m. And I said, Coach, I can't pay you next month. And he said, well, Justin, I mean, I know you're not going to tell your family this. Put it on a credit card. Sure enough, I put $7,500 on a credit card. I had $25 in my checking, $25 in my savings. And every coaching call was not about real estate. Every coaching call was, what what do I have to buy weekly? What is the cheapest lunch I could have and what's the cheapest dinner I could have? So we went to Costco and I bought a massive jug of peanut butter and a whole bunch of bread because my our coaching calls were not devised on real estate. It was how can I save
How can you
every
survive?
how can we survive? So
Right.
the moral of the story is of this was month 7 when I had 25 in each account, I closed a $14,000 deal and things started falling. Oh, I
Hold
think we
on,
have
hold
someone
on.
unmuted.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Hold, hold on. Okay. Go ahead, Justin.
There you go. So month 7, I closed my first deal, $14,000. I was able to pay off the credit card and things started flowing through after that. But I understood that if it was, now I'm forever indebted to MFO because I was like everybody else. If you have no money, you get out of coaching.
Right.
You don't put it on a credit card. But everybody, what's interesting, if you speak to everybody up front, they all had that peanut butter moment. Everyone had a moment where they didn't have the money, and then all of a sudden things clicked. So the question always is, when is your moment going to be now? What is your moment? That's it.
And then what are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do? That's it.
Yeah. Well, okay. But, it's hard to, I was 26 once, and it's hard to tell a 26-year-old what to do, especially if it's an adult, right? Um, so what allowed you to accept the information and take action on it? Where'd that come from? Books you read, people you talked to, mentor along the way?
It's a solid question because if there's a 26-year old that does not want to speak to Neil, there's a problem to begin with. But if you don't take advice from Neil, just shoot me a call because I'm literally going to tell you to call Neil. My What I got a lot of that from was understanding when I was younger, when I was 14, 15, 16, I would tell my parents this. I'd say, I'm okay with giving up my 20s, 30s to have a better life, my 40s, 50s, and 60s. So for me, I don't have to enjoy my 20s and 30s. I'm not someone that I'm gonna miss the event. I'm gonna miss the party with my friends. And then in relation to books, I'm reading a book now that I wish I read this 7 years back because it's all on mindset. And there's a growth mindset, there's a fixed mindset. And a fixed mindset basically insinuates that my future is predetermined. Ah, I'm not good at calling inspired, so I'm just not good at them. As opposed to a growth mindset where I'm not good at them and this is exciting, so I'm going to get better. The book name I see there is Mindset by Carol Dweck. I'll pull it up here. This is it right here. This is the cover. Um, and the focus when reading for me, it's I'm going to read this 300-page book. I'm going to read 2 books a month, 3 books a month. I need 2 or 3 nuggets to spark my curiosity and to spark my excitement for life. And for me, 26, 25, 24, when you are surrounded by people that are succeed, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I rather copy and paste what they did to succeed. So whatever Neil tells me, I'm going to listen. Whatever Bernie says in my presence, I'm going to listen. Whatever Mike Ferry says, I'm going to copy because there's no need. I don't need to be another Mike Ferry. I need to be Justin
Yeah,
Torres.
I had Mike Ferry in the beginning, but before I really bought into it, I was reading Anthony Robbins, and Anthony Robbins in his first book talks very specifically, find somebody doing what you want to do and copy it. And I probably was 24, 25 when
Mm.
I got that information. So everybody on this call is getting the information whenever they're getting it. So they'll take action on it tomorrow. Anthony Robbins going to sell a lot of books tomorrow, that and mindset.
Just well, if we can help them, if they helped us, we can help them.
100%. And what goes around comes around. We stand on the shoulders of those that came before us.
Mhm.
Yeah, good stuff. So, Justin, but we're still talking about you got to do the activities with 7 months of no closings. You had what we call blind faith, and you knew if I do this, this is going to happen. But a 26-year-old, that doesn't happen very often. And yet you still did it. Then you got your taste of your first decent sized check, and you were off to the races.
Mhm.
But how do you? Okay, so here's the next problem for 26-year-olds or 25-year-olds, whatever you were at the time, is complacency. You get one or two $14,000 checks, and I've known guys, plenty of them, your age, that jet to Las Vegas for the weekend with 20, 30, 40 grand in their pocket.
True. It
What,
is true. I
what?
was so when I probably was 20. 21 before hitting my first $300,000 in gross. But
Okay.
if you're what I've realized is that money never excited me. So the excitement of or the infatuation of money is only going to lead down a deep and dark spiral. So for instance, if all I care about is looking at my vision board that has a massive Lamborghini there, once I get the Lamborghini, my motivation is going to slowly dwindle.
Got
So
it.
for me, this game I'm playing is a 30, 40-year game. And the reason why I'm playing that long game is because of everyone, because of my core five, my core six. I have to take care of mom. I have to take care of brother. I have to take care of sister. And everyone, grandmother. And my goal is, and my why is that big because it's not centered on me, my future wife. I have to take care of these people because for me, I'm a believer, so I would be disobedient in my faith if I did not take care of everyone because I was bestowed with some sort of, I don't know, passion or gift, or it was a blessing. So if I was given this and I don't achieve some of those goals or I don't live up to my potential, it's for me, it's being disobedient. So I think it's more of a responsibility to succeed as opposed to a choice to succeed.
So, Justin, that's a great point. How much of accountability hanging around Mike Ferry, um, hanging around guys like Neil, hanging around Dan Mum, etc., Bernie, how much of that accountability? You can't hang around Bernie without being inspired. Agreed?
Oh yeah. But you can't even just look, you can't look at Bernie walking. I'm going to tell you a story. I've never told anyone this story. So I I am in the Venetian. Everyone should go to the Superstar Retreat and stay where the retreat is taking place. I say that
Always.
because everyone that's successful, they value their time and they're not going to take an Uber that's 40 minutes away because their time is a lot of money. So
And they'll save $20.
and they'll and they'll save $20. But the focus is you get to see how some of these people behave. And fast forward 5 years back, my first Superstar retreat ever, I'm in the lobby, and about 30 yards out, I see Bernie walking. And I felt like Aladdin was pulling a red carpet and he was flying a little bit because the aura he has. So I bring that up because when you talk accountability and you talk about some of these successful people, they carry themselves a different way. So if you associate with them, it's not that they're better than you or they're holier than thou. It's they expect certain results out of themselves. And in surrounding yourself with that, you're going to expect better things out of yourself. So I like Dan Mum, you mentioned. Dan Mum, Brian Ogletree, Natasha Johns, they were all, and Lisa, everyone in my mastermind was laughing at me because I didn't have a cleaning lady.
You didn't have
So
a
you want to,
cleaning lady.
I didn't have a cleaning lady. So this was last year, and my mastermind, I didn't know at 25 years old, I shouldn't be, the living room doesn't need to be cleaned by me. I didn't think of that. So normal people don't think of that. But they value their time. So if you want to attain their results, you have to act as such. They value their time. You probably should value your time as well. But every week, Melinda, Dan, hey Justin, where's your cleaning lady? How was that session? I'm like,
Right.
I didn't get it. So one week, Brian Ogletree sends a cleaning lady to my house, and I am forced to then have a cleaning lady. You see, with association, you're going to change the way you act, the expectation you have for yourself, and the way you talk, the way you behave. And it's okay if everyone from your past says, "Ah, Justin, you kind of different. You've changed." That's a compliment. I've lost a lot of people in just 5 years. I'm going to keep losing them.
Well, that's great. So, Justin, let's talk about that mastermind group. I get that question. Oh my gosh, um, every week for years. How do you start a mastermind group? How do you grow one? Who do you choose? Blah blah blah. And you have a mastermind group, and the truth is that to get into your group, you need to be Bernie Gallerini, at this point in your career. But a lot of real estate agents aren't at that point. So what advice would you give? How would you start doing that?
So I would, if I were to rewind the clock and I was 20 back in the office, the first thing I would
So
do
many years ago.
way back.
Way back.
But the first thing I would do, and I wrote this down, is I would change my attitude. Because if you change your attitude, your results will change, and your attitude is infectious. And I said this earlier, but the people that you're surrounded by could very well change simply because they're intimidated by a positive attitude. So you first want to change your surroundings, because separate and aside from a mastermind, how can you surround yourself with more optimistic people that excite you to prosper in this business, as opposed to discourage you from prospering this business? And that's my first focus. Immediately once 5-6 months and I see a core group of people that are holding each other accountable, and it doesn't have to be in the office, it could be in your city, MFO, whatever it may be. If you see optimistic people, you see people that are excited by pushing and driving, you want to do your very best, and this is not easy, but very best, to lock a time in every week and be responsible of being the secretary of that group. Be responsible of coordinating that group, because the fear with Mastermind is everyone else does not want to be responsible for leading the call. So what better accountability than you leading the call, you coming up with tasks every week, and it's a call filled with optimistic and people excited about working. And then the more and more you go to events, the more you can try to grab people in. But a lot of the established agents have their masterminds already. So now your focus is, let me try to build a relationship with some of these agents. And I call this, when I first started, I'd write down John Sullivan's name on a piece of paper. And I know I'm going to see John Sullivan in July. So I have 4 questions for John, not surface level questions, deep and profound questions, so he remembers you.
Yeah,
Then if you
don't ask, if I might,
go ahead.
don't ask what CRM do you use.
Or
Okay.
where do you get your expired listings? Like,
Yeah. Where's your list come from?
that's going to annoy him, and that's going to make him think, although he's a great guy, that's going to make him hack you, I guess, put you with everybody else. You want to
Right.
separate yourself from the crowd. So I would ask profound questions. Really think about the person you're speaking with, because when you ask a strong question July and you see him in January and you do that again, he's going to remember you. And now you've built a
Justin, can I
relationship.
stop you right there just for a second?
Shoot it.
Okay. If I were to ask you, what's the first most important book you read? And I wanted to know that about you. That's one of the questions. So what would you give as an answer?
What would I answer to the most important book?
If I asked you a question, like you're advising
Yeah.
me to, I'm that guy, okay?
Okay.
You're advising me come up with 4 questions. One of my questions is, what's the first most important book you read? How would you answer that, Justin?
I'd say Think and Grow Rich, The Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy, and The Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins, the green
Okay,
cover.
3 great books. My book is the Anthony Robbins book I was talking about. So I'm doing this to show everyone on this call right now that in 2 people, we came up with 4 great books. I think we're all missing an opportunity to just ask people, what's the first most important book you learned from? And then you find out. And if they don't have a book, that's not an accountability partner. How's that? Justin, that feel good?
Oh, I love it. I'd actually take it a step further. If you want
That's
to
what I
separate
want you
your,
to do.
so look at this. If you want to separate yourself from the pack, and you really want us to recognize you, or us to, because the reason why you want recognition is not just because it fills my cup. No. You want recognition because they may give you one golden nugget in 6 months that makes you $350,000 by accident. Because for them, they're just providing value. Like it comes very natural to this. It's very matter of fact. But if Neil just said the Anthony Robbins book, I would buy that book now. I would read it within the next 7 to 10 days. You could even throw 2 weeks in there, and then respond to Neil with 3 points as to why you really appreciate the recommendation. So now it's you're not only are you taking the recommendation and you're showing that you respect it, but you're actually implementing it with execution and sending him, wow, this is what I really appreciate that.
Okay, now this is really good. I'm glad we're doing this right now because I'm going to use it and send it out to agents on how to do this. So you can take that and you send that information to Neil. Okay.
Yes.
Neil goes, whoa, that Justin's amazing. I don't have room in my mastermind group, but the next person that asks me who they would recommend for is going to be Justin Torres, man. Because and this is what he did, and this is his phone number. You want to be in a mastermind group? You'll be in 20 of them in 6 months by doing that. Really smart, Justin. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome.
Good stuff. Really, really good. Okay, so Justin, well, first of all, before we move on, questions for Justin Torres. Anybody have anything that they want to ask before we move on here?
Hi, Justin. This is Iris, Neil. Would you repeat those 3 books that you recommend?
Yeah, of course. Hi, Iris. The first book I said was Think and Grow Rich. The second book I said was The Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy. And then The Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. It's a green cover.
And you like green, so that's why you chose it, right?
I love green.
Iris, good question. Thank you. Any other questions of Justin right now?
Neil, what is the name of the Anthony's book just now you mentioned?
I knew somebody was going to ask that question. Okay, his second book is Awaken the Giant Within, and the first book is Unlimited Power. That's what it is.
Yep.
Unlimited Power. I'm not saying don't read the second book, but it's the first book that caught me. And Everything Mike Ferry. How's that?
Yeah.
Everything Mike.
How to make a six-figure income?
We're gonna find someday that I hope it's a long, long, long way from today. Someday, Mike Ferry's going to be up there with Earl Nightingale and all of those people as some of the greatest philosophers that we've known. And all of you have an opportunity to at least meet him one time. Okay, maybe more. You know, I've been following Mike for 50 years now, and I show up at every event I can. Not because I'm slow and it takes me a long time, but because I always get something out of the meeting, something. So highly recommend it. July's events coming up, get there. Number 1. Number 2, so I didn't do this before, but I recommend everyone sign up for the lunch program. You know what I'm talking about, Justin?
You have to sign up for the executive
club. You have to sign up for the lunch program. And I thought, oh, geez, Mike, you're ripping us off. This costs a fortune, you know, and you're always trying to get into my pocket, blah, 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 blah. That's been my psychobabble on that subject for years. I did it this time in San Diego, and it was spectacular. I didn't want to leave the lunch to go back in the room because the information at lunch was as good or better than I was getting from Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So spend the money, ladies and gentlemen, spend the money. Justin, okay, any other questions so far from about Justin, for Justin, to Justin? Okay, so Justin, tell us what you would do today. The market's a little bit different. Well, before I assume that, how different is the market today than when you started in it 3-4 years ago?
I think it's more perspective. Because 5 years ago, I don't know how many sales there were nationwide. I know during pandemic, 6.2 million sales or whatever it was nationwide, but there's a whole lot of business to be done. And who was it? I think it was John Maxwell. I mentioned if we ask ourselves better questions, we're going to get better answers. So the question that I used to have is, why can't I take listings? And I used to say that when I was 2-3 years ago. I said, why can't I take a listing this week? As opposed to saying, how can I get a listing?
Yeah.
And it's directing Justin and speaking to myself, but directing myself to get a listing. So to this year, last year was my best year yet. We were able to hit, thank God, with the help I had, we were able to hit that 650 number. But now this year we're trying to hit 1 million. And it couldn't be done. My biggest fault was not hiring sooner, because delegation, I felt like Justin could do it. It has to be my way. I have to control everything. And that's the biggest fault I've had. And when you start reading anything about anyone that has had the courage to write a book, it's always done with someone. It's we, the team. Mike Ferry has a team. He has D. He has some great people around him that allow him to curate this amazing presentation for us. So for me now, I'm happy as can be because I have the help I need, and there's so much opportunity. I think this month alone, we set 11 appointments.
Well, when you say we, so how many in your team?
When I say we, I'm only referring to me as an agent, but I have a transaction coordinator and operations manager. But when I say we set 11 appointments, because they help curate the pre-listing package, but on the calls physically, it is only me.
Oh, let me ask a question. You said 11 appointments this month. Do you role play also?
Oh, yeah.
Really? You still role play?
I have a lot of work.
Wait a minute. Don't you know everything?
No, I'm far from. In fact, this morning alone, I had Nora
I know Nora.
role play. Yeah, so she's incredible. She's out of New York, but she blatantly told me, Justin, that energy for the first objection handler was horrible. But that's called accountability. My energy was terrible. We have to role play, and you have to understand whether you're 10, 12, 15 years in, you need correction because you're never going to be perfect.
Right. Absolutely. Manuel Dominguez, can you hear me?
Again,
I couldn't connect with you on the open mic this morning because you were having technical difficulties.
we should have that resolved by tomorrow.
Okay, but the reason I'm bringing it up is because I was trying to get through to you. Like Justin energy was off. Your energy was off in the call I listened to.
Okay,
All right. So
got it.
I'm just picking on you in front of 1,000 people. Sorry.
No problem. Anytime, Neil.
Have a cup of coffee and jump up and down a little bit.
Up and down, do exactly.
Yep.
100%. All right, Justin, tell me what a new agent or newer agent's going to do in this market to make money.
I would first and foremost listen to study everyone that's been there before. And when studying, 5 years ago, I heard Bernie say this on a Ren Jones podcast or something, a Vulcan podcast. And he said, your average agent makes 2,000 contacts a year. He said, so what I did was I do 10,000 contacts, because for every 1 year the agent's making their calls, I'm 5 years in.
Yeah.
For me, I have made 11,000 contacts since I heard that. And now Tony is yelling at me because contact-itis. But the focus is, how can you expedite the learning curve?
Yeah. You know what? I wouldn't do that. That was something Kobe Bryant did. And look how it helped him.
It's terrible. In fact, all of them. Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, Tiger Woods took 1 million shots. Don't do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What the hockey player
Gretzky.
Gretzky always said, you miss every shot you don't take.
Yeah.
Yeah, very simple.
Sure.
Okay, so I like that. That's a great idea. What else would you put into that ingredients?
I would say for the younger folks, stop thinking that, or even for someone that's well seasoned and they've been stagnant for 3 to 5 years, stop thinking that what got you here could get you to the next level. Someone that's closing 50 deals a year, 60 deals a year, if you've been doing that for 7 years, whatever got you here is not going to get you to the next level.
That's actually a book.
It is really? Because
Yeah,
I got to
it's
read
true.
it.
No, there's a book entitled "What Got You Here Is Not Going to Get You There." In fact, I highly recommend it. I read it. It's not new. It's probably 5-6 years old.
But it's the truth if you think about it.
100%.
Because
100%.
everyone wants to be the big fish in a small pond when their ego is it's just too big. But when you change your mindset or your perspective and you say, how can I be the small fish in a big pond? How can I surround myself with bigger producers? You'll learn more and more things. And the more you learn, the more you're going to grow. And for someone that's a tad bit younger, the habits of I'm going to stay up past 10:30, it needs to change. So what I changed immediately was I have been going to bed from I'd say from 21 to now at 9:30 and waking up at 5 a.m. Monday through Friday religiously. And then Saturdays, I'm still making calls. So you have to change your habits immediately. I used to have the beard. I used to have the long hair and used to stay up late and I didn't make any money. So
but you were doing it your way.
Yeah, and it wasn't successful. So just change entirely because you'll thank yourself in 10 years.
That's great. Fantastic. All right. So other questions for Justin, please. Just yell out the question or raise your hand or.
Neil, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Hi, Justin. This is Iris again. So my question is, you said the first 7 months you didn't do anything. So what did you do during that 7 months? And then on the 7th month, you did your first deal, got your check. And then after that, what did you do or what have you been doing? And compared to what you are doing now compared to those past few years?
Iris, another good question. So I'm glad you brought it up. My first 7 months, my focus was just keep making calls, contacts, which could be done to a flaw because you're not focusing on lead conversion. So you have this big pile of leads. You're not asking yourself, how can I convert these to appointments? So what happened with me is 6 months after that, the compounding effect happened where things just by accident fell through. They just fell right into my bucket. And I started closing deals unbeknownst to me. Like somebody called me, I called him 3 months ago and he said, wait, we had a good conversation. I want you to list my house. And then I double end that house. And then I take 6% of 600,000. That's how it happened. But the only reason why it happened was because I took 10,000 shots and things started coming my way. If I were to do things differently now, I would focus my afternoon on lead conversion. Like I have a board in front of me, like Mike says, and let me take one of these off. I genuinely have index cards because Mike told me to do it, so you probably should listen. And there's a contact date and there's everything of that nature. And I'm sure you can find that on Mike's. Mike has a million videos on it, but the focus is if your morning time is for prospecting a new business, your afternoon time should be for existing business and curating any or converting any current leads you have. That's the only thing different I would do.
Justin, great advice. Thank you.
Of course.
Really, really good. All right. Other questions for Justin? Let's go.
Martin has a question, Justin.
Martin, go ahead.
How are you?
Good. Happy birthday. Happy wedding coming up, sir. I'm going to use the word set up the accountability for the habit of going to bed at 9, going to bed on time Monday to Friday?
It's tough. So with the account, so for me, what I did immediately was I got 3 guys in the office, and I got them excited about achieving their goals first. The only way you do that is we're salespeople. So a lot of agents in the office don't understand that, and you could very well find out what their motivation is and use their motivation to help them build better habits, which inadvertently will help you. So what I did was I said 3 of the guys, I said, guys, listen, we want to take this to the next level. What's your goal? You want to buy a house? You're getting married soon? Great. Let's all call each other at 4:30 in the morning. And you're not going to stop calling me until I pick up. And if I don't pick up after 3 rings, I owe you $100. And then even if you stayed up till 11:30, because there were times where I stayed up till 12, I promise you, you won't do it. If you do that Monday, you won't do that Tuesday because you feel horrible. But you're doing it because you have 3 other people that are counting on you.
And you're embarrassed. You don't want to be embarrassed in front of your friends or peers, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Definitely.
Great thought.
Thank you, sir.
Really good. Thanks. Thank you, Martin. Other questions for Justin?
Yeah, I would also mention everyone should pick up a copy of Essence of Success. If you want inspirational tidbits from Earl Nightingale, you have to pick up Essence of Success. It's a hardcover book. There's silver, I wish I had it here, but I don't. There's silver trimming on it. You have to pick it up because they're 3-page chapters and they just punch you in the mouth right before you make calls.
Love it. Thanks for the idea. Appreciate it. Okay. So Justin, what's your superpower?
My superpower, I'm still trying to learn that. What I would probably say, I see a question here, essence, ESS. But my superpower would probably be revolved around discipline, and with a tad bit of resilience at the end. And I have something that my dad got me here. It's a little reminder, and it says resilience on it. Because when a buy owner screams at you, followed by an expired cursing you out, you need some sort of discipline and resilience to push through to then set the afternoon appointment. And at times it could be very discouraging. It could be very discouraging. Somebody outside, let's say you finish, you had a rough day, set no appointments, and someone says, how was your day? It's very easy to fall in the rabbit hole of, it wasn't too good. You have to build a level of discipline and resilience to say today was the best day ever.
Love it. Good stuff. Excellent. Okay, so unmute yourselves, everyone. Please unmute yourselves. All right, let's give Justin a big hand. Woo!
Thank you, Justin. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All
Thank you,
right,
guys, for having me.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good
Good job.
work. Thank you. Keep up the good work,
Appreciate
brother.
Justin,
guys.
really, thank you. And I'm going to pull the nuggets out of here in the next day or so. So thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Justin,
Thank you for having
as
me.
you know, that after we're done with this, we always go around the room asking agents, what did they learn? What did Justin share with us that they can use, etc. I know you've got a hard stop pretty soon, but if you want to stick around, great. Otherwise, this is continue to record so you can hear it later on. All right?
I'll have 5 more minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it. Okay. What did we learn today from Justin Torres? What did we learn? What's to go first?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
To be disciplined.
Okay, good. To be disciplined. That's great, Tommy. Thank you. Okay,
You're
who
welcome.
else?
I have one. It's not always about making the calls. You also have to focus on the lead follow-up, converting the leads.
Actually, the prospecting is slightly less important than the follow-up. Okay? So I know because we listen to Mike all the time and everybody says prospect, prospect, prospect. It's really prospect, follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. and then it's prospect, follow up, follow up, follow up. And then somewhere you got to put the presentation in. So it's good stuff. Adriana, you had your hand up?
Yes, thank you. Basically, not give up, and I love that.
Not give up. That's right. That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. A little before Justin's time, another great man, Winston Churchill, said, never, 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 never give up. And England stands today because of that man. Okay. So Justin, I guess we're going to stand today in the future of real estate because of you.
That's a big,
like
that's
that.
a big woof. That's a lot of pressure.
That's a big woof, right?
Big shoes to
exactly.
follow.
Hey, Adriana, thank you. Did you have another question?
No, no.
Okay. Martin, did you have a question? I saw your hand up.
My two biggest takeaways is I've seen Justin a lot is whatever today is, happy Friday, setting up the attitude for whatever it's going to be tomorrow or the day. And the other one is to expect better results from myself first before anyone else.
I love it. That's really a great thought. I like that a lot. Thank you, Justin. Iris, go ahead.
Yes, Justin, today you unveiled something from what you learned and heard from Bernie. It's average agent made 2,000 contacts, and then he made 10,000, and you made 11,000. I think that is also one of the key that makes you extraordinary.
We agree, Iris. We agree. He
Really
is
appreciate that, Iris.
extraordinary. Good stuff. James, did you have something you learned? James is leaving. Okay. Good.
No, I didn't get to listen. We had a technical difficulties. We were just able to sign on.
Oh, well, glad you're here. Good job. Okay. What else did we learn? Tess, you got something for us?
I think for me, in my opinion, Justin really has to, was more of an analytical. Like, I'm impressed with what he said about in the morning, he is prospecting, just basically just focusing on prospecting. And then in the afternoon, it's the follow-up. So really studying exactly what really makes him the money.
Yeah,
Get that?
that's him. Absolutely. Shirley, did you have something you wanted to share?
Accountability for yourself. And I think
absolutely. Find people that you look up to. We recommend, until you can find that mastermind group of accountability, every day from noon to 12 o'clock for sure, we have what we call open mic. So everyone's mic is turned off, except for the one person that's prospecting for that 30 minutes that's assigned. And I think personally, that's probably one of the most powerful things we do as an organization. You can just jump in and do that tomorrow. Won't that be great?
yes.
So good stuff. Well, thank you. Accountability, definitely. What else did we learn today?
Now, I learned that Justin said success is his responsibility, is not a choice.
Oh, success is his responsibility. It's not a choice. I like that. I like that a lot, Justin. Thank you. All right. What else did we learn today from Justin? Woohoo.
I got one here.
Questions.
I think being responsible for leading the masterminds, everybody wants to find a mastermind, be on one. And I think that was a great point, is step up to lead one and people will come to them.
100%. Absolutely. I like it. All right. Let's give Justin a big hand. Oh, excellent job, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you, Justin.
If you need anything, reach out to
Justin,
me. Alrighty,
you know
guys?
what? Justin, do me a favor before you check out. Put your your name and email address and in the chat box in case anybody wants to send you a referral?
If you guys need anything, feel free to reach out. I'm here to help, but I'm also here not just because I'm doing well, but my focus is how can I help people that are really struggling. And if you ever want to leave the business, call me before you leave, because there's no reason why. There's good, what is it? The grass isn't always green on the other side. So if I could help someone like my coach helped me when I first started, I'm here to be of service.
All right. Thank you.